Welcome in, friends and family, and everyone else in between. This is the AJA Sports Show. I'm Ace, joined in here today, as always, by Jay and Andrew. What's going on, fellas?
How we doing?
What's up, boys?
Welcome to the show. Today is our MLB live stream where we're going to talk about some of the news of the day, happenings and goings, a couple of interesting things that kind of just dropped today. I'm being very general. I get it. I'm sorry. We're going to be talking about MLB umpires. We're going to be talking about Trevor Bauer. We're going to be talking about the standings, throw a little bit of homage to Hank Aaron in between. And it's AJA After Dark. So you're more than welcome to join us as we cheers to ourselves and you out there. Stay safe, stay positive, and drink up. So what are you guys drinking today?
Good luck to Johnny because he's not gonna like what's on the menu for drinks today. It's just literally just Gentleman Jack on the rocks. Don't have any good mixers lying around, so.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Dad, if you're watching.
This is my third AJA After Dark segment. I did the first one without these two, and I've been able to have a different drink each time. I had my bourbon sunrise on the first one. I had a couple cans of beer on the second one, and today I have a pineapple vodka. It's like Svedka pineapple flavored vodka with some lemonade. And what's up, guys? Hello,
Lizzie.
What's going on? So thanks for joining us. Drink responsibly. I guess I should throw that in there too. Today is the anniversary day of Hank Aaron's 715th home run. So, a cool moment to remember. Vince Scully made the call. We actually have that here. So we're going to play it live so you guys can enjoy. And then we'll go from there.
And stay a professional and pitch his game. 1 ball and no strikes. Aaron waiting. The outfield deep and straight away. Fastball is a high drive into deep
Booyah.
field. Buckner goes
Pay
back
attention
to
to the
bag.
advertisement.
It is gone.
Think of it as money.
It is money. Oh my God! Look at the security here. Who's chasing these bums down? Huh?
I know, right?
How do you get to touch Hank Aaron? No shot.
Seriously.
No shot.
So
Crazy, man.
Moonshot.
what I'll tell you there is Vince Scully was, and if he still, called games, he would still be the best at this, but he let the moment speak for itself. So that was one of those things that we were spoiled with as Vince was an announcer. He knew when the moment was above him. He knew when he needed to just entertain people with his fun stories and all of the things he learned over the years. So it's super special to hear Vin call that.
You don't like those college announcers, Asa, that just overshadow every play that's ever happening?
Yeah.
You think there's a 60-yard touchdown scored on every gosh darn play, and it's a 2-yard dive?
I only like
Gus.
Go ahead.
Oh no, like Gus Johnson, like every other.
That's
out.
Yeah.
Well,
it's an incomplete pass 30 yards down the field, off to the sideline, and baby, and Gus Johnson just going off. Dog.
I only liked when that's in highlights, like Sports Center back in the day when Berman would make the call on, or even like home run derbies or Stuart Scott. Those guys can get away with it, but some of these other guys take away from the moment. Vince Scully
tweeted that out though, bro. Like, when would you ever think that you would see Vince Scully tweeting?
Right.
What? It's kind of crazy.
I think he joined Twitter during the pandemic, so he's done a lot in his life. So what was something new that he got to do? He joined Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it national season, Molacola? Nationals? Max Scherzer had a nice start.
Yeah, Nationals are good. Yeah.
But they didn't play their first few days because several
get that COVID under control. Yeah,
several players on the cannot play list right now. So we'll see how they shake out. They got some people there, but the season is still young, and as we kind of go over the standings, we'll take that with a grain of salt, and we'll go through that pretty quickly. So with that said, let me pull up the standings for us to take a look at. I mean, it's only 1 weekend, right? So like no one's breaking anything open here. The Astros are leading the American League. I just have this broken up by leagues.
Plus 27 run differential,
which is not bad. I mean,
that's really good for 6 games.
Well, they're number 2 behind them is the Minnesota Twins with plus 24. So probably a couple of lopsided wins there.
Twins are up like 10-0 earlier today.
Oh Jesus!
I talked to.
Twins are gonna be good.
Yes, I mean, the Yankees, which are the favorite in the East right now to win the title, are 3-3. Again, super early, but only 2 games behind Houston here. Chicago White Sox are a team that everybody likes this year. They're 4-4. The Toronto Blue Jays are another team that people like, 3-3. If you go down the list here, the worst team, the Oakland A's, at 1-6, narrowly got avoided the sweep from the Dodgers. I think we should the walk-off win.
I think one team we should just absolutely avoid until they get their act together, and it's probably it's not so much the team, I guess, or the players, but the Texas Rangers. Yeah, get it together over there with the COVID situation, okay?
Oh, I know. Well,
yeah, you're banned. You're redacted, as Al Smither would say as of now.
Molokola, you know how to meet my quota. Absolutely.
Yeah,
we expect at least one of these to show. So thank you for the contribution there. What's interesting, I guess, is in the baseball landscape is that it's some teams are barely about to play their first home game, and then rivalries of old haven't all been touched up yet. Like when the Astros play the Dodgers, I'm sure that's going to be a crazy one. There's a lot of pent up energy from these baseball fans because they didn't get to enjoy heckling other teams the last year. So I didn't even realize we weren't even on on the stream there. So here's our lovely faces, everyone. AJ and A in the flesh. Enjoy. So not much to point out. I guess Houston being on top isn't super surprising. One of the 2 or 3 top teams technically in the league.
We just need Angel Hernandez to umpire all their games.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah,
we will get to that.
We'll get to him, but
the National League again,
plus 31.
I mean, the Nationals here are 1-2, so yeah, they haven't played they haven't played all their games yet, as well as the Mets missing a few games there. The Cincinnati Reds are 5-1, Phillies 5-1, the Dodgers dropped one yesterday, 5-2. Again, it's still pretty early.
I hope everyone enjoyed watching the one time the entire season. Dodgers will even be close to 500. Yeah, we were under for about a whole 18 hours, so enjoy it. You won't see that happen pretty much ever until next opening season, probably.
Talking about run differential, look it over here. Pittsburgh minus 27 is
my lord,
is wacky.
Or my poor buddy Jeff.
And then Oakland right here minus 36. Those are harsh.
Man, I mean, you're losing by over 6 runs a game.
I mean, you pretty much just back to us
bad.
now. You pretty much missed. You missed seeing a lot of these teams. Their fans are back in the stadiums. They're missing their team play a regular schedule, and then they just get to see blowouts or even these players. They played 100 less games last year, and then they're not coming in super inspired. But yeah, I mean, pretty interesting. I'm not going to stand here and say that standings mean anything just quite yet, but they are a little bit more important than like basketball or football, where in a baseball series, it's a little bit more difficult to, overcome a deficit, overcome a large gap in the schedule as when the standings kind of get to a crawl towards the end. And I was looking things up because I just wanted to verify. Last week, Jay and I had mentioned that there was 152 games this season, but I actually double checked and it was 162. So Andrew was right. My bad, A.
No, Jay was right.
Yeah, I was right.
I was wrong.
Yeah, so the Dodgers re-up my take, baby.
Oh, okay.
The Dodgers will break the record for most games won in a regular season with 110.
So the A's were wrong. The A's were wrong. We're taking the L here. Yeah, so like it's cool that the season's back to normal. Do you guys think that the landscape is like? Do you think some of these teams are going to be able to hold on with 100+ games this season?
I mean, the vaccinations are going up, so we'll see how that goes in terms of how many players get it. Are you talking about in terms of like the COVID part of it, or are you talking about just in general?
I think he's
frozen. For the
COVID, lose Ace.
Yeah, we did.
We lost for a second.
For the COVID part, yeah, I think with vaccinations, and everything that they got going on, cutting 10 games wasn't going to do anything anyway. There's 152 games, so we got a long way to go. And we already had a few problems with COVID in baseball, but they're following whatever the rules are for in terms of attendance based on wherever the state is that you're located and what their regulations are. But yeah, 152, 162 don't make a difference.
That take is going to be a little bit better now. Now that I feel kind of silly for like saying how I felt like I was saying so confidently with 152. I guess they just kept talking about it, but I shouldn't have expected Rob Manfred to, do anything progressive or do a change. I mean, 162 games is still like way too long, but it'll be a lot of these teams are like super brand new too. Like the Mets are brand new. They brought in Francisco Lindor. The Padres are pretty brand new. They have Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, and now Tatis is already injured, so. They initially said that he was going to have season-ending surgery, but now they kind of ruled it out for that. The Padres are pretty optimistic that he'll be able to return at some point this season. But
I got Ace on FaceTime.
I heard it.
Ace is here. He's here. We're working on the technical difficulties here, boys, but that's about it.
We'll sort it out here.
Yeah. So we also mentioned about the robots, the umpire robots, and Angel Hernandez kind of made our job a lot easier for anybody who thinks that there should be a robot.
The early season argument a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
there he is. There he is. What's up, buddy?
I don't know what I missed, but Elizabeth said, "LOL, replay the tapes." What did I miss? We kept the show going, right? Okay.
Yeah. We just talked about.
Talk about it a little bit. We were talking about the baseball season. Do you think having it without a shortened season is something you were talking about right now? If you thought that was okay, or if you think we can get through it?
Yeah, I mean, I know the NBA transitioned into from a shortened season to another shortened season with a variable of having a play-in tournament. So for me. I know that baseball is a little bit more old school, so I understand why they went with let's just throw 162 games at these folks and whatever happens. It would have just been good to see like a little bit more thought put into it. I guess from my perspective, I'm not 100% sure how much thought was put into it, but a transition probably would have been more appropriate. It didn't happen, so I'm not gonna can't read the tea leaves more than that. But it'll be interesting to see how this long baseball season plans out. And I think for a long time, a lot of us have been like, well, are they ever going to shorten the season? Are they ever going to shorten the season?
Chance.
And I would probably be okay with that as long as like it wasn't like half the season. But I mean, they can knock off like.
It gives us something to watch on those summer nights.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, but
we play out basketball those early summer nights. So,
well, the thing about basketball that you can make the argument with baseball is because they play series. Maybe because you have teams stuck in one spot for multiple days at a time, might be a little easier to say we can handle more games. Because basketball, obviously, you stay in one city, then you're usually out unless you play someone like the Lakers and play in the same building.
I don't want to be wrong again, but I think the MLB said that they were doing a bubble for their playoffs. I could have sworn.
I don't know. I mean, do you think they would announce that already? I mean, the MLB playoffs aren't until like what?
October?
Yeah,
October. September, October.
Yeah. I don't know if they did that yet. That's possible.
Well, why don't you look that up while I move on to the next thing that we could
We mentioned Angel Hernandez, Ace. I don't know if that's where you were headed to next.
So we were gonna
robot umpires. Oh God, yeah. The Mets thing.
Could I include a Clayton Kershaw stat real quick?
Absolutely.
Just because he got off to a rocky start, no pun intended. First in the season opener in Colorado. I know Johnny's giving me the look. I made like the worst, like most lame dad joke ever because they played the Rockies and they lost. He gave up like 7 runs in 5 innings. But he bounced back and it closed out the series 2 days ago. And in that win, he is now like in MLB history, he has the most starts with 8 strikeouts, no walks, and no home runs allowed with 28. So just like to start, like if you have like a full, full start, that's higher than Walter Johnson, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, and Cy Young. I just want to throw that in there. So
yeah, he's unbelievable, dude. I mean, any franchise would kill to have somebody like Clayton and
a bunch of goats over there that you just listed to.
Seriously,
I was gonna make a sometimes like did that joke land? Did you go low with that joke? Or maybe this time you went a mile high. So,
oh yeah.
With your caller.
Didn't even bring out the.
Okay, so let's. I'm going to show Angel Hernandez's pitches being called balls and strikes here. They're literally, it's been broken down by a bunch of players. I'm sorry, I meant fans on Twitter. So you can probably just catch that there. But a lot of missed calls here. And as you can see in the caption right there, robot umpires. I'm bringing that up again because maybe it's time. We're going to show 2 clips here. So this is the first one. We're going to show another one by.
1 or 2.
Yeah. So we'll enjoy this. But this has no sound, so you just gotta watch along.
Okay, I'll give my little. It's a little outside.
I'll make it a little bigger.
Okay, that one's okay. Okay, that's pretty bad.
About 3 inches off.
That okay? That's a fist.
That's okay with me.
Okay, that's a fist.
Oh, that was a strike.
Oh, we called the ball. He's calling someone a strike.
Okay. Yeah, you got to be consistent. That's a strike. No shot.
No way.
Oh, okay. Now we're hitting stride here.
That's a strike. That's a strike.
Well, he didn't call it. Oh God, that one's
okay with.
Bad. No, that one's okay. The first one was bad. Oh, that's no. That's no good.
That 87 breaking ball was
that one was no good.
That one was pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That's not. I mean,
Bundy right there was like,
okay,
yes,
that one's okay. Well, that's a strike. That's not a strike.
Yeah, that's why you gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention. There's no audio, so you gotta pay attention. Some of them,
some of them are. Nah. Oh boy, that's way out.
That's
okay,
a strike.
Okay, Andrew, what's that? What's that reference from where he's like, "You are wildly inconsistent." That's what I think with this guy, bro. Oh yeah,
just all over the place.
That's what it is. Maddeningly inconsistent.
Yeah, let me freeze it on one of these.
With his speaking German. How I met your mother peeps out there.
Okay, so just looking at this one.
You don't know kindergarten?
Oh gosh. I was gonna try to pronounce something in German from How I Met Your Mother, but I'm not going to try. Okay, so like even here, like even the catcher frames it perfectly. He frames it in the box. It's still within the box. And he calls this a ball. So crazy stuff, man.
What was it? They said he was he missed 24 calls and he only had a correct percentage of 83.2%.
Yeah, it's the worst called game of the 2020
Yeah, the worst called game
far.
of the season so far. I mean, if you saw his one where he gave away the perfect game, I mean, Jesus,
well, when you think about it too, like baseball players are paid pretty well, and so like all sports really in the NFL. I should say the NBA, like, these refs have to run up and down the floor with these guys. So they don't only have to be good at their job, but they have to be like, physically in shape and even probably even more so. Like they need to be gifted physically because they got to be able to keep up with, physical phenoms over here. These umps literally just stand in the same damn spot for the whole game. And it is not you solely. You have help down the line in both directions. You have help behind second base. You have help in the crane camera that they have hovering over the field, and you still can't get some of these calls right. So that's why we need to add robot umpires to this game in some fashion. So it doesn't have to necessarily be just – it doesn't, like, okay, I get it. Like hit by pitches, maybe you need an umpire in there for that, but – for balls and strikes, like this needs to be standardized just a little bit more. Like, because I think
he was really bad. I mean, and the other thing I'm going to say too is I think baseball umps get the worst of it because people can criticize so much. I mean, they throw out 100-something pitches a game. These pitchers when they start. I mean, You can criticize every pitch. I'll never forget. I was umpiring one time, Granada Hills, Little League. Shout out. You know what I'm saying? Armpit Valley. I made a call on a dude being out at first base. I was the umpire. I was probably in like 8th grade. I was umpiring like a farm game or something. Oh my God. I had parents wanting to fight me. I had to tell Timmy's dad to back the heck up, bro. Because I called his son out at first. And Timmy was being a little bit of a douche. So I was like, you're out. It was bang bang, but
Jay, let me just mention here that you can't argue with the robot. So as much disdain as you have for a call, the robot made the call it was designed to make. Furthermore, when I talked about the athleticism that some of these NBA refs have, which I truly believe in, like 100%, I'm with them. I applaud them for what they do. Do you watch like the landscape of like MLB umpires and how they look? Like they look like me when they should be looking like you. Like they need to take care of themselves a little bit more. Like some of these guys are a little bit bigger, right? And if you're a little bit bigger, your neck's not going to turn as fast as maybe as it would if you didn't have a couple extra cheeseburgers worth of food in your chin. So you got to look at it that way too. Like I'm not saying that they're fat. I'm just saying that they're not the most athletically gifted people. And I don't speak for all of them. I just speak for like a couple that I see. And we're not calling out anybody on their weight, but yes, like you said, it's a mind game too. Like you have to be on it mentally. Exactly. You have to be emotionally strong because if people are hollering at you and stuff like that. But they're not playing it with Little League moms who are arguably worse than just regular fans. Little League parents are probably worse than the fans at the stadiums. And then the fans at the stadiums, they have security there, right? There ain't no security at your Little League games besides, your mom defending you while against the dad of another kid, So
I dare any mom fight my mom. My mama slapped my mom.
And there's separation, right? Like the ump is pretty much on a stage. He's nowhere close to fans.
Now here's the thing, right? You say you design a box, right? There's like you make the box. What if a dude comes up every day and he's got, what I'm saying? He's all the way crouching to play, Ace, and right on the freaking plate, and I got no room to work inside if I'm a pitcher. That's where, having an umpire back there, if he sees, hey, dude, you're hovering over the plate and I'm beaming the inside portion, you kind of hack the system a little bit, big brain it.
I mean, what you can do is two things. You can have an ump stand nearby the plate, maybe in the batter's box, or near the batter's box, or you can have an ump being like, video, like streamed in on video onto the robot's head, so he could like talk to the players. That's another way to look at it.
Now it's like a robot, like a humanoid robot.
Yeah, kind of. That's a little.
Okay.
That's a little gimmicky.
It was like a freaking like a box that they like constructed like a zone out of.
I'm being completely gimmicky here, right? They're not gonna put a robot there, but like they have technology, man. Like we're gonna talk about this in a few seconds here, but they track helmet technology on NFL players. They track baseball technology on these baseballs now, right? Like the game is harder to cheat more than it ever was, and arguably, technically, it's probably harder to play this game than it ever was, right? We don't have
Astros still find a way,
So exactly. So all I'm saying is, even if I actually want them to keep an ump behind the plate, but maybe have like a headset or something where he doesn't necessarily get to call all the balls and strikes. Is what I'm trying to say. But it would be hilarious to watch a game with a robot just literally behind the plate. That would, but a bunch of people would be rolling in their graves. So if that ever happened. Okay, so yeah, kind of.
Did you have the other one too? What was the? No, dude got hit?
I'm gonna play it right now.
Oh, Castellanos.
So, this happened today. Kind of a bad call as well. This one was a little bit close, but this decided a game. So look at it with that lens. Like they might have still, the game still might have been decided. But this play was decided by this call.
Brandon. 1-2 coming. And the slider in there, strike three. Thornton's hit on the pitch.
You're trying to take one for the team, but Jesus, don't all play like that. What are you doing?
So that was close. You couldn't really tell. They're going to show a couple of highlights here. what I want you to also look at is look at the batter's elbow kind of going into the plate a little bit. You can kind of see a little drift going in, kind of as if he was anticipating being hit and maybe was leading into it a little bit. And then you're going to actually see, like, it's a close call, but you'll kind of see if you think he was or was not hit. So let's continue.
Hit Conforto. He made no effort to get out of the way. It was a strike.
He made an effort to get in the way.
This is a strike, and he gets hit. Look at that. Oh, you can't do that. That's Sam.
That's what I'm talking about.
He tried to fool it by kind of like bending his body. Like, if you played baseball, you look in a strike, you like look at like into the glove. He tried to bend his like body in that way while sticking out his elbow. Cause like normally like it's up here. So it's out of the way, but like you're not supposed to do that.
he loaded by that time. He was already loaded.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Let me read replay rules real quick for you guys, just because I have it. Okay. So this allowed the Mets to beat the Marlins today in walkout fashion. The umpire crew, after this play, talked about it for a little bit, but they decided that the umpire behind the plate, Culpa, his decision stood. Under replay rules, this is what it states: a call on whether a pitch is in the strike zone when it touches a batter, and whether the batter attempts to avoid getting hit is not reviewable. So the pitch is in the strike zone. It is in this shot, but the fact of the matter is they couldn't review it because the batter, they didn't decide if the batter avoided getting hit. They decided that they were just going to say, oh no, he didn't lean into it, so or lean back, because you can lean back on a pitch and it'll still be a strike, right? But the opposite is you can't lean into it, and it you'll get a consequence on that.
So look, you got your replay here with your robot friends, and look, Ace ain't even get it right here. Why
so let me. Well, okay, but this is what the ump. If the ump doesn't have to call balls and strikes, and he just has to look to see if it hit the guy.
There you go.
Then his focus is specifically on that, right? Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit more. Hold on.
They got to bring it back. Totally have to. They're gonna. It's absolute. And he stuck his elbow right into that pitch. It's gonna be strike 3.
And those are the Mets regional announcers, if I'm not mistaken. So they even they're in disagreement with it.
As to whether he made an effort to get out of the way. Trying to get.
So from this perspective, it kind of looks like it's hitting him, but they're going to show an aerial view too.
Do that. I'm almost certain that he couldn't call a strike, and they can.
To me,
yeah, he did. Yeah, ball's over the plate. If not,
to me that's in the strike zone, right?
Yeah.
And to me that doesn't hit him. But I mean, it's a judgment call. So, I get that part of it. But.
They don't even get to see this. I was going to roast them because I thought they got to, they see it afterwards, but they can't make the decision off of that, right? So does that mean when an umpire, if you're ever in doubt, just rule that he tried to get out of the way, right? And then you can So from a batter's perspective, the ump can't review. It's not a replay review to say, oh, I'm in trying to avoid it or not. So like the ump's case here was like, well, if he was trying to get hit by the ball, then we can call him out. But since that's not a reviewable play, that's what they focused on. So here's another rule that was brought up into question. Rule 505 states that the batter is entitled to first base when he is hit by a pitch, obviously, unless the ball is in the strike zone when it touches the batter. The ball, if he was in the strike zone, right? The ball was in the strike zone. He was in the strike zone. So the ball is in the strike zone when it touches the batter, or the batter makes no attempt to avoid getting touched by the ball. He didn't attempt to get, avoid getting touched by the ball. If anything, he kind of leaned in there. And then the secondary rule to this is if the ball is in the strike zone when it touches the batter, it shall be called a strike, whether or not the batter tries to avoid the ball. So it doesn't even matter if the batter tries to avoid the ball. They just got this one flat out wrong. So this has everything to do with the fact that the umps were looking at it from a different perspective and not focusing in on that rule and looking at the other rule, which they were trying to define whether or not he was avoiding getting hit. But if you actually the ump actually did strike, and then he
he touched his hand. He was like, no, actually hit by pitch. So he called a strike, and then he changed it to hit by pitch.
The ball didn't look like it moved too much. I don't know. So,
I mean,
and with those elbow sleeves they wear nowadays too, like they're kind of like they're designed for the ball to slip right off of it. Like, that's why you wear the elbow protectors. That way, if you do get hit,
some of them, but that looks like a plastic one. It's like you would have seen it like change.
It was an Evo shield, no? One of those.
But like a plastic shield.
I watched games where they literally will allow a ball touching your uniform, and you not call that a hit by pitch. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more like hard to say with like equipment on your body, but either way, a game was decided, and we know it's early, but that kind of sucks for. And it brings me back to my point last week about robot umpires. If you can't get a call right, if you don't know all of your rules, you have to be good at one thing or another. Like if you're not good at calling balls and strikes, and you're not good at following your rules, i.e. Dodgers game against the Rockies where they lost because they didn't call it a home run, and then a player passed another on the diamond. And then today we have this snafu with, okay, I get it. Like it was a bang, bang close call, but there are rules in place. If the batter is in the strike zone, he clearly was, and they could have overturned that. And then the Marlins wouldn't have automatically lost on that play because they would have just struck him out, and then there was still one more out in the inning, so play would have resumed. But
it's a rough way to lose, man. That's a terrible way to lose. I mean, the Dodgers won a couple games last year doing like walking off on walks, but never like a hit by pitch, and especially one like that. That's a rough one.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll let myself get cool off a little bit here and not get too overworked about my robot umpires.
The robot umpires, like in theory, aren't a bad idea. I just don't know because it takes away too like some of those things like the too close to call pitches. Like if a 3-2 count, if it's like just barely off the plate, but you're in a 3-2 count, and crucial moments of the game, not crucial, whatever, but like those too close to call, like strikes, I guess it takes away that, but I don't really know how people would feel about that. Like, as baseball players or anything like that.
My way to look at it then is, okay, keep the umpires back there, have them call just balls and strikes. For anything else that needs to be decided, you need to confer with someone up in a booth, someone in New York or California.
Don't they do that now? Like, especially like that's what I was.
They're supposed to. They're supposed to.
Challenges.
It's like Secaucus or something. I'm supposed to be handling it. Get it together.
New Jersey or something.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think video review is kind of like, it's barely in the MLB, but it's just kind of long overdue for all sports, and
everyone who does it stinks at it.
And there's got to be a better way.
NBA and NFL take too long. NBA and NFL take too long. And baseball, you can only do it on like two things. And then when you do it, you don't even get another one. You should
see how long it takes soccer. Oh my God, it's unbelievable to do VAR checks, video assistant referees.
With the game changing from being on radio at first and then being on black and white screens. Now, if you're at home, you see a blown call, you're gonna want to let people know that you saw it, and that's the thing. Like MLB is also fighting against the people at home who see everything, because if we can see everything at home, then shouldn't it be kind of called the same way in the stadium as well? So that needs to be welded together. Not that it needs to be robot umpires, and not that there needs to be more umpires or more replays. It just there needs to be a little bit more cohesion there between what we see and what the players actually see. So
agreed.
Yeah, some people at home know what they're talking about, though.
So we're going to talk about a couple slightly. I mean, everything's controversial, I guess, if you try hard enough. So just real quickly here. Moving on from my robot umpires segment, which will continue the whole season. Trevor Bauer had some baseballs taken away from him to be looked at based off of them being suspicious. So I guess they found some visible markings on it that were allegedly sticky. And Jay can talk about this, but balls are being rotated in now and then being reviewed. What do you have on that though, Jay?
Yeah, so his was pulled in the first inning, which is a little weird because it's the first inning. Most of the balls, all the balls are checked before they get put into play. So I don't know what he could have possibly done in the first half of the inning, but apparently it was something. There's multiple balls that are being taken in now. It was just the first one. But what they're doing this year, is me and Ace talked about it before the show, is they're tracking the spin rate to try to catch these dudes that are cheating. So they're going to take your spin rate on your 4-seam, and they're going to record every single one of them. They're going to record the spin rates here, and then find like the anomalies. Like, okay, your spin rate is ridiculously high in this game at this time, so we're going to look at that ball. Because for anybody who doesn't know, if you're not like a big baseball person, if you put baseball players would put tar, because there's tar in the dugouts. I have the sweatiest hands ever. Ask my boy Zachary Haynes. So sorry, big boy Zach. Brand new bat, brought to batting practice. Your boy didn't have gloves, and I got my coach just throwing me balls like it's a goddamn pitching machine. And I'm like, coach, my hands are slippery. I throw it back into the gosh dang fence.
Yeah, I felt so bad.
Oh my god, I wanted to. I needed to. You ever seen the
threw it right
want to
into
get away?
Yeah.
You got to get away. I wanted to be out, bro. I felt like absolute dog garbage. So sorry, Zach. But yeah. So when you add sticky stuff to a baseball and then you throw it, it helps with the rotation. So like on fastballs, the faster and tighter your spiral, the faster the ball is going to go, and the more accurately it's going to go where you want it to go. If you put sticky stuff on it, you're throwing like your curve, right? And it's denser in one spot. When you let go and you drop for the curve, it's going to spin more, which means you're going to get more break. So with every type of pitch, adding some kind of stickiness somewhere helps, because the rotation can get faster, can get slower depending on how you throw it. If you let go of a changeup and you have a little bit of stickiness on one part, it'll do one of those rotations where it goes like where it's like that. So if you played baseball before and you see a ball come in, it sounds kind of crazy. Because these dudes throw 100 miles an hour. But if you constantly see baseballs every day, you notice when it changes. That's how you can tell when a pitch is coming. Again, for anybody who doesn't play baseball, that's what people look for. They look for the release of the pitcher's arm. They look for how it's coming out of the hand. Is it coming like with a certain spin? Does it look like the spirals are going sideways? Does it look like they're going down? Does it look like they're coming straight at you? And that's a way to decipher quickly. Sorry. That's my
So you're telling me they have technology to track spin rate of every pitch, but not technology to have like strike zones? They have like, I understand they're not one of the same.
They can do the strike zones, but you need the nuance. You can't just have a box.
I guess so.
Every time you throw it to this part of the box, it's a strike zone. It's a strike or it's a ball. That's why you need an umpire.
Or maybe not even strike zones, but for the video reviewing, like they can't make their video reviewing any better.
Yeah, they need to be better.
At least let's start there. I guess I meant to start with the video reviewing, because that takes like forever too. All the umps are called in and everyone gets a headset, and they all just get like told what the call is, and I don't know. I don't understand it.
This is kind of my take on it, and I'll talk about football here too a little bit. In football, you have 24 footballs that you submit a couple of hours before the game starts. You get them reviewed by some non-affiliated, member of the crew, looks at them, verifies them. If there's any question, they'll tell you'll have to bring a replacement, right? And I understand that, like, if they did that in baseball, maybe they do, not sure. There's a point where a player in the dugout is able to potentially add some pine tar or something if they're hiding it. This league has seen lots of that kind of behavior happen over time. So this is just a way for baseball to try to do that. But here's another point to look at it too. Like, pitching is incredibly difficult, right? I would say a batter that was juiced versus a pitcher that is using a little bit of pine tar. I would probably say that the batter who is a little bit more like, is getting a little bit more like health reinforcements there, and is probably a little bit more profitable than, a little bit of pine tar, because no matter what, like, you're still going to be able to get hit on, like, by throwing it. I understand where you're coming from though. That being said, there are literally 4 or 5 refs. There's 4 umpires on the field. They have like hidden people watching the dugouts for both teams. Like, okay, I get that. Like, they should do that, but like, like you said, it was in the first inning, so it's not like Trevor Bauer had much time, right, between the before the game started. And if they're not reviewing the baseballs before the game started, then that's on MLB. So
they review everyone. Yeah.
100%. So if how much time, like, maybe they need to check the balls like, right before Trevor Bauer goes up to the mound or whomever is like being criticized or potentially, going to get removed here. And Andrew brings up a great point too. If they're tracking the spin rate on these balls, so how's the spin rate this season going to be like drastically different from the spin rate last season? And how are you going to use that data to formulate your reasoning to say, oh, this pitcher might be cheating, this pitcher might not be cheating? I just think like
spin rate gets better over time sometimes, depending on who it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's why that's why you have like guys like Max Scherzer and Jacob DeGrom, like who are like revitalized. Like when Max Scherzer already did his career revitalization, like at 32, and Jacob DeGrom's like in his early 30s, and now he's all of a sudden a prominent guy. They are able to control the spin, like in certain situations better as they get older. But I agree with the batters having a bit more of an advantage.
Really?
Like,
that's what, okay. So I was gonna ask. I like that.
And it's not. I don't think it's drastic. I think it's and the only reason I think they have a bit more of an advantage is because the pitchers are still throwing like their spin rate is higher, but they're still going to be throwing into like a specific box, to essentially get strikes, and give or take a few inches on each side. I understand. I'm just saying, like, but when it's more set in stone what your strike zone is as compared to like what you can do with your pitches to get them in the strike zone. And these are really good. MLB players are like unbelievable hitters. The same thing like we talked about with LeBron. Like, he may not be an above average NBA shooter, but he is a 10 times better shooter than a normal civilian would be, regardless of like who you are. So it's kind of the same situation when it comes to like a batter. So I think they have a slight advantage. The thing that I don't agree with is that a lot of it's like the old heads that are calling this like they think spin rate is going to be a worse indictment on the game of baseball than the steroid era was. And I just don't agree with that. I think the steroid era, it's just.
I'm going to pivot what you said into the biggest problem baseball has. The biggest problem baseball has is not whether its pitchers are using a little bit of pine tar. Get over yourselves. Or baseball players are putting corks in the bat. Getting over yourselves. Baseball has a problem with just being identified like on the same market as basketball and football, right? Football is leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Why? Because it knows how to make its players known. It has a quarterback position, which is a sexy position, and then all of the quarterbacks that are fantastic. All the names. You see them before every game, right? The NFL does not like their Twitter department and everything that they do. Every way they cover the games are better. So the MLB is so worried about so many rules. I read Rule 505 out of baseball, right? Okay, like I don't even know how long the baseball rule book goes on, but I bet you it's longer than football's. I bet you it's longer than basketball's. Okay, and if they have so much time on their hands to look at these rules and not even call them right, because they didn't call them right today, they didn't call them right against the Dodger game. If they have so much time to look at all these rules, they should spend a little less time on that because they've had these rules. Baseball's been around for over 100 years. They should be focusing on the future. So if spin rate is in the future, if tracking the spin rate on pitches is in the future, then use that tool as something that can help profit your game and understand give that information back to the pitchers so that they can understand how to be better pitchers, so that they could be more famous, so to speak, because they have better results as a pitcher. But I mean, if anything, like they suffer from problems that they're not even addressing. Like they need to put themselves out there more. They have a 162 game schedule, and a lot of people won't even watch until the playoffs start. It's kind of like college basketball in that sense. Like I know, like not like some avid fans might do that, but I'm a lifelong baseball fan, and I don't catch every game. Is that an indictment on the sport? I guess, because they're not pulling me in enough. And there's 162 games, so I have more reason to skip games daily because I can catch over 160, over 100 baseball games where, in football, I have to watch every week because that's the only football game I'm going to get for my team that week. So shorten the season. This is the ASA. If we could edit this in live time, this is the ACE way to make the game better. Shorten the season. Mm-hmm. Put the correct technology in the places it needs to be for your game to make more sense. So that's reinforcing your umpires' ability to make their job easier, because it is definitely a hard job, and I don't want to keep talking crap about their weight. And then stop worrying about the past and all these other things and look to the future, because Mike Trout is one of the most fantastic outfielders to ever play this game. And this guy, you couldn't even recognize him if he walked by you at the gas station,
Yeah,
So you need to seriously put some more investment in your players. It needs to be more of a players league. So shorten the season, help the umpires out, and make your players be the stars of the show. And then if you're going to make that third one a possibility, then you need to keep introducing ways that they can get better at their game. If both pitchers and batters can see the spin rates of balls, and maybe there's some substances that can be put on the balls that are fair to be put on the balls, then allow that and let that be known, and let that help your game grow, instead of worrying about whether or not Trevor Bauer is cheating or not, which I don't think he is. But
you guys think that juiced batters is more of an advantage than
we're gonna get into this?
A pitcher with something on the ball?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. No, again, it's not a big margin. It's not a large margin.
The hardest thing in sports to do is hit a base. The hardest thing to do in sports, number one, hit a baseball. Number two, make an open field tackle. Okay, I don't know about that.
So to your point, if the hardest thing in baseball is to hit a baseball, you're talking about like trying to make it less difficult you want the pitchers to be better, like have it easier or harder to throw that
I'm
ball?
saying that if the pitcher, it makes the job for the pitcher even easier. It makes my job as a batter even more. My job as a batter, which is the hardest thing to do in sports, is to hit a baseball.
Andrew said that there is a strike zone for a reason, right?
Oh,
and so if I have to swing,
we don't have your robot umps right now.
Okay, but if I have to swing into that strike zone, I'm just going to swing into it every time. And there's more. No shot. There's more
No shot. You think you're just gonna get lucky and hit one? No way.
Okay, because another part of baseball is getting walked. Okay, so like you might have better control of your pitch because you might have some substance on it, but it doesn't mean you're gonna throw. It doesn't mean you're gonna throw 3 straight strikes every time.
Huge. I mean, the zone's like from your chest to your knees.
Again, here's kind of why, like, I think, like, again, like hitting, like, is, so it's going to take, if the spin rate thing continues the way it's going, and pitchers like are able to manipulate the pitches like more, which doesn't look like they're going to be able to because they're catching it kind of off the ground. But they always have. They're always going to get better.
Boring.
What I'm saying is, so if they can control the spin rate, that's going to take some getting used to for not only the pitchers, but it's also going to take getting used to for the batters. The only thing I'm saying is that, like, so it's going to be harder for the batters to track the ball, but it's also going to be harder for the pitchers to control those.
But they're not doing it as much because it's such a competitive advantage. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying that because of the strike zone, like there's like a certain, like the pitchers only have like a certain amount to go. Like I understand what you're saying, like to manipulate the ball. Like I'm just saying, like they have to be able to put pitches in like certain spots too. So that's why I think the batter gets a slight advantage. That's the only reason why.
Let me make a crystal clear example here that I think will help you out. And I don't think I'm wrong, but you can try to defend it a little bit more. During the steroid era in baseball, you knew every batter that was in the home run race. It was evident that they were just destroying balls. Baseball was awesome to watch. Home runs are awesome to see. So that's your blanket there of what just a player can be, right? Can bring maybe an average person to above average into elite, right? We call them cheaters. I get that, but still that's the threshold that they can get to. Before the juiced era started, you have Cy Young, right? You have Fernando Valenzuela, you have Randy Johnson, you have players that playing across generations, right? That pitched phenomenally well. You used to have pitchers pitch every day. Like they would just, they would pitch back to back games. Like it was just crazy. Like they didn't care about the pitcher's arms in the long run. They just went out there and they played like champs. So if we're looking at pitchers being able to, pitch like crazy back in the day, and there was like less rules probably on them back in the day, maybe there was cheating as far as back as 100 years ago. But is baseball really going to get into that? Are they really going to try to identify? Are they really going to try to identify if have pitchers had an unfair advantage this whole time? If that is the case, if that's how they're going to look at it, if that's how they decide to to approach it, then they can't fault the players for all the past mistakes of the past 100 years, because it's a new rule. It has to be considered like a new rule, and you just have to modify the game with this instead of like looking back to say like, oh, okay, well, this person cheated and that person cheated, because then we're gonna be, baseball likes to put asterisks on things, and not necessarily, and maybe for a good reason, right? Because like, Hank Aaron looks like he deserved to be the home run champ, and Barry Bonds, who was obviously juiced, took that away from him. But the point is like the baseball game has evolved. I don't think they're using their technology where they need to. And I think it's being wasted on the fact that this whole nonsense about extra substances being in the game. It's already hard enough to play the game of baseball, which you mentioned. Maybe they need to figure out a way to make it better for their pitchers, and if the pitchers if they have like maybe like a basis of what they can use and not use, and I know that exists, but at least they can take better care of their pitchers. Because if you get Tommy John surgery, you're done for 14 months, right? So like, and that happens every year to like several pitchers. So it's not a long career as a baseball pitcher. For a baseball hitter, you can Hank Aaron played 20 plus years. I mean, there are only some anomalies of players that have pitched for that long and did the same role. A lot of time, starting pitchers have to reduce their roles to like relief pitchers in order to keep playing the game that they love. You're not wrong, Jay. Like, it's still going to be the most hardest thing to do in the game is to hit a ball. But come on. Baseball is wasting their potential here. Baseball is such a fun sport.
The last thing I'll say in regards to my argument about like the hitters and everything, and I like appreciate all the stuff you just talked about, Ace, because you brought up a lot of really good points. But the last thing I'll say, like, to my argument, is that Tony Gwynn, one of the best hitters of all time, and I know it's kind of hard using him as the example, but he faced Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, and Curt Schilling over 300 times in his career, never struck out once. And like, I know, again, Tony Gwynn, he's one of the greatest like hitters of all time. I'm just using that to say give an example of how good like some of these like Major League Baseball hitters are, and because obviously so is some of the really like best pitchers of all time. That's the last thing I'm going to say, whether you agree with it or not. That's just the end of my argument for it. That's all.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. That was a great point. We just want to be right, Jay. Okay, you were right about the 162 game season. This episode, we were right about how
y'all ain't right. It's harder.
It's an argument for both. I think I don't really know. And again, because you've already seen what the steroid era. You've already seen the kind of domination the steroid era did. Like, if this were to continue on, you don't know what it could have been or what it could became. But
there were a lot of good pitchers during the steroid era too, like Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, and Pedro Martinez, and Roger Clemens, and John Smoltz, and Curt Schilling.
But there's always been great pitchers, is what I would say.
Yeah,
and I think we're kind of in the area now where it's harder to have those great pitchers maintained, because like, is Clayton Kershaw going to be the last great pitcher of our time? Like, is Jake DeGrom, Trevor Bauer? I know it's impossible, right? But I don't know. Are some of these like? So it's like kind of between DeGrom and Bauer right now, probably to carry the pitchers, torch along to the next generation. But I look at those two a little bit less than I would look at like Curt Schillings or Greg Maddux. But yeah, you're not wrong.
You're making the hardest thing in sports harder. That's all. That's it for me.
So yeah, you're right. Okay, so is this what you wanted me to show?
Oh yeah, Castellanos big dogs this boy. So just so you know, before this, Castellanos hit a home run the day before and did a little skip to my loop down to first base. And the Cardinals didn't like that too much. So obviously, what you do in baseball when you don't like what somebody does is throw a 90-mile-per-hour pitch at their back, because that makes a lot of sense. And Castellanos scores and shows the pitcher was happening.
Let's watch it.
And Castellanos right in the face of Woodford, and now the bench is empty.
You can't get into a brawl when you're wearing baby blue. Come on, Phillies.
You can't. I didn't know you were going to trash their jersey.
Huh?
I didn't know you were going to trash their jersey. The pitcher threw a bad pitch, so it's not in this video.
Those are the Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals pitcher throws a wild pitch, Gautier goes back to the backstop, tries to throw him out at home. He beats the pitch, sliding head first, and then gives him the business. Puts him at eye level, and then I loved it, dude. And if you see the little,
I do too.
On the home run, it's dirty, nasty, filthy.
I could see it now. Thank you for giving us a good visual there. But yeah, he was like he probably he had some words right there for him. I like that though. I mean, this game is boring with like, oh, let's run to first base to home plate. Like, no, add a little bit more fun. Like, I'm all for flexibility in Major League Baseball. Like obviously, like this is a little dirty, but like, what happens when a NBA player slam dunks a ball? They scream. Kyrie Irving points to his family yesterday. Like, it's cool. Like, have a little fun with it. Like, maybe don't dog the guy while he's on his knees. Like, I get that part, but like,
I love it.
The spirit of it, though. I love the spirit of it.
In the business.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we kind of talked about all the controversial stuff. We'll just do a quick little game. I'm calling it the Pandemic Pastimes. I'm going to ask these guys if they. I'm just going to ask them to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If they want to give me a reason or not. So during this pandemic, a lot of our baseball players got to do and learn new traits or activities or hobbies. So that's like the pastimes part of it. So we're going to just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down as we go. Okay. This is all in one right here. Creative writing, drawing skills, Star Wars knowledge. This is what this player spent time on.
It's a good one.
That was Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
Really good
one. Third one, big time Star Wars knowledge. Love it.
I got a dog.
You got a dog?
Well, this player got a dog.
I don't like dog hair. Dogs are cool with dog hair.
A's Matt Olson. Learn how to play the guitar. Not good at it, but they learned how to play the guitar.
I'm learning the ukulele.
Yeah, uke. I like the uke.
So I'll do that, yeah.
Pete Alonso.
Okay, Pete Alonso.
Learned how to make a sick pour-over coffee making. They upped their coffee game.
Yeah, we're coffee fans here. Sunday Morning Roast. Join us for it. Yeah.
Yankees, Jameson Talon. Did a lot of jigsaw puzzles with my wife. Eric Hosmer.
Do something else with your wife. Sorry, Eric. I don't even mean.
I did a Star Wars jigsaw puzzle, though, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
We did two.
We did two of them. They're in the closet.
Well, jigsaw puzzles are another level of commitment, but yeah. Biking, 40 miles like a day. Francisco Lindor.
Yeah, we do insanity. That's more than I don't even want to think about getting on a bike.
This guy became a dad. I mean, we'll give him
all right. I mean, come on now. What do we do? What are you, Barney Stinson down there?
Astros Lance McCullers.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
This player now meditates 20 minutes a day because they picked up meditation during the pandemic. Who is it? Not who is it, but thumbs up. Thumbs up. Elvis Andrus, shortstop.
Yeah, Joe meditates a lot. Fan of the show. Joe meditates a lot.
Twitch gaming.
Playing or watching?
Playing. Like they're streaming themselves play?
No. I mean, I would do it, but I mean, that's cool.
Twins catcher Mitch Garver. Painting, but
W. Myers Leonard.
Painting, but specifically they watched YouTube shows with their kids and watched pour over painting.
Okay, I'm good.
Max Scherzer.
Thumbs down.
Pour over coffee was more interesting.
That sounded better.
Singing and songwriting.
That goes in line with me learning the ukulele, so sure.
I mean, are you any good?
Angels,
I'm learning
Jose.
chords, man. I'm learning.
You're talking about
Angels, Jose Iglesias.
I thought you were talking about me.
No, the guy's. I don't think the guy's good yet. But he's taking lessons, so he's paying someone to teach him. Reading books meant for 5-year-olds.
You say reading, I'm down. Unless the next word was Harry Potter, it's down.
White Sox pitcher Lance Lynn. I just watch Netflix all day.
Nothing wrong with that.
Stranger Things?
Pitcher Kyle Hendricks.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. I apologize.
It's a simple game, man. Watching Western movies on Stars.
Watching Western
Did
movies.
Steve get into the MLB? Mr. Steve in the MLB now?
I'm not a big fan of Westerns.
Dusty Baker.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Gardening. Yeah.
No.
Astros Ryan Presley.
Of course.
Good for you, Ryan Presley.
Fishing. This is a few guys.
Maybe?
No fishing. No. I'm so impatient. I don't get a bite in 20 seconds. I'm out.
Astros Jake Odorizzi, Phillies JT Realmuto, and JD Martinez.
Yeah, the Astros gotta have a long time fishing after we beat them in the World Series. Good luck. We're ready to get out of here. I want to see you.
Okay, we're almost done here. Baseball cards and chess.
For the baseball cards. For the baseball cards. Yeah, chess, whatever. Baseball cards.
I like chess.
Chess?
Alex Bregman. He collected baseball cards. Never got one of himself apparently, but started to play chess. Even though
on yourself. Wow, interesting.
Okay, starting a small campaign about race and violence.
Big thumbs up.
A's
Social
Tony
activism. Double thumbs up.
A's Tony Kemp started the +1 effect kind of campaign. It's not huge, but he has some shirts. Wants to have open dialogue about race and violence in the world, not just the game of baseball. I probably should have ended it on that one. But here we go. Golf, and he increased his shoe collection by apparently a lot.
What is he, a sneakerhead?
I like both of those. I'll be in the senior tour at 55.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm not doing golf.
The golf,
guy,
not the shoes.
The last guy here is Blake Snell.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for playing along, guys.
Yeah. No problem.
Hopefully, during the pandemic, we started a YouTube show, so I got that. Showed a lot of people's true colors during the last year or so of our lives, and people did a little bit more of what they loved. People tried new things, and so hopefully you're doing that by watching the show, because if you are, it's probably for the first time, since we've been going at this for less than a month now. Appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully on the replay when we watch this back, it'll be as good as it was while we were watching. But cheers to another AGA sports show until we see you guys
at the end.
And we made it to the end. And until we're with you again, guys.
I meant another drink. I didn't think I was going to finish the Jack. But yeah, there's a lot in there.
I'm going to chug this off screen. But until we see you guys again, have a great night. Bye.
Thanks, guys.